Okay, so every country needs oil. Planes, cars, electricity, even trade, it all runs on it. And interestingly, almost every oil transaction in the world is priced in one currency, the US dollar.
So historically, the oil price was priced in pound sterling, and slowly the US dollar emerged as the global reserve currency.
This didn't just happen naturally, it was engineered. And the outcome? It became one of the most powerful financial systems in history, the petrodollar system. Okay, so it's 1971. President Nixon just ended the gold standard. Before that, every US dollar was tied to a fixed amount of gold. Of course, that gave people trust. But once the gold was gone, the dollar became just paper. Its value depended on the faith on the US government. And suddenly, the confidence in the dollar was shaking. At the same time, the oil was becoming the single most important global commodity. And the US knew whoever controlled the link between oil and money was about to control the global economy. So they made a move. In 1974, Washington struck a deal with Saudi Arabia, of course, the world's biggest oil exporter. The terms were simple. All Saudi oil would be priced only in the US dollars. In return, the US would provide military protection, security guarantees, and sell advanced weapons to the kingdom. Once Saudi agreed, the rest of OPEC, the oil cartel, followed the rules. And the ultimate rule was set. If you wanted oil, the lifeblood of modern economies, you first had to get dollars. So, what does this actually mean? Let's say Germany or Japan needs oil. Their companies can't just pay in euros or yen. They first need to exchange their currency into US dollars. That created constant demand for the US dollar around the world. Meanwhile, oil exporters like Saudi, Kuwait, Qatar end up with massive surpluses of dollars. And what do they do with these dollars? They recycle them, buying US treasuries, US stocks, US real estate, even US defense contracts. So, in practice, the dollars earned from oil sales often flow straight back into the American economy. It's a closed loop that keeps the dollar at the center of global trade. This gave the US the financial hegemony, the global dominance. More than 80% of global oil trades happen in the US dollar, and the constant demand for dollar makes the US debt so easy to sell, so Washington can borrow at lower cost. This also gave the US the sanction power because dollars flow right through the US banks. America can cut off the access and choke countries it wants to punish. We saw it happen to Russia and Iran. Even rivals like Venezuela, Iran, Russia, who hate the US obviously, can't fully escape the system. Their oil still needs to touch the US dollar somewhere in the chain. The petrodollar turned American currency into the backbone of global trade. But nothing lasts forever. When the US started weaponizing the system, using the dollar dominance to impose sanctions, that pushed some countries to quietly look for alternatives. China has tried the petro yuan, paying for some oil imports in its own currency. India also tried rupee trades. Russia has shifted some sales into yuan after Western sanctions. And Europe currently pays for a tiny fraction of oil in euros. But none of these currencies have the liquidity, stability, or trust of the US dollar. So, yes, cracks exist, but the foundation is still solid. So, what happens next? As long as the oil is king, demand for dollars stays strong. No matter how much people talk about alternatives, if your country needs oil tomorrow, you're paying in dollars. But in the long term, two things could shift the game. One, the energy transition. Let's say renewables or nuclear energies reduce the oil's demand, then the dollar oil system could weaken. And also, if blocks like BRICS or some digital currencies creates a parallel system, then the reliance on the US dollar could slowly shrink. And the biggest risk to the petrodollar isn't just one big competitor, it's death by 1,000 cuts. Small deals in yuan here and there. But for now, if you want oil, you need the US dollar. And as long as that's true, the US dollar remains the most powerful weapon in America's arsenal. So, yeah, thank you for watching. See you on the next one.